That was the sound of the jar of names. I've broken it. I could open. There we go. Right, let's pick out a name. Okay, right. So this video is for everyone, including but not excluded to Daniel Kirk. Right, back in the jar of names. That name goes. Close it up, and we shall begin. So, welcome to A Cup of Tea in a Podcast. This is the cup of tea. And this is the podcast. Right. So if you want to go down to my first comment, or my first comment, personally, you can skip to this week's skip list. You can skip to this week's update, this week's topic, this week's TV time, this week's question, and this week's goals. Update. So we're still behind, unfortunately, but we are catching up quite quickly. We'll talk more about that later in goals. But yeah, we're still behind by a little bit, but we'll talk later in goals to see how well we're doing. Right. Short update this week. Topic then. Let's go on to this week's names, shall we? So, right. Obviously out of order, so that it won't be on Monday and stuff like that. But you'll listen to the podcast right now. That's what's going to happen first. Then after this, you're going to get an Assassin's Creed 3 video. It's either going to be called, I'm not sure which one, Rioting Tunnel Rats, because there's a riot and we're in a tunnel and there's rats. So that's very specific about what's happening. Or there's one called Unkar Plutt, which is obviously a Star Wars character, but it's not really descriptive of what happens in the narrative. So I don't know which one to go for. Let me know if you have any ideas about which one you want, because one is very specific about what's happening. The other one is more of a funny thing that happened, but it's not really descriptive. I like to go for descriptive, but I don't know which one I want. After that, there's going to be a Bastion episode called Several Survivors, because there are several survivors, more so than two. And then Wednesday, this is actually really funny. It's an Assassin's Creed 3 video, and it's called I'm in Your Shack, because something funny happens, and I basically end up in a shack. I won't spoil it, but it's just amazing, and it's just, yeah, I had so much fun, and every time I see this, I'm in Your Shack, it just brings back all those memories, and it's hilarious. So check that one out if you want to check out any of them. After that, we have another Bastion video called Fort Dream. There's a fort and there's a dream. And then after that, we have an Assassin's Creed 3 video called Sail Away, Sail Away, Sail Away. Which is, yeah, you probably guess what happens in that, to be fair. We've also got maybe a pointing episode on Saturday. I haven't decided yet. I need to record them because I'm basically done at the Boston pointing now, apart from a little bit that will be in, when's that in? That's in next week, I think. Last little bit of pointing. But that's not in a pointing episode. It's a weird one, but I'll explain about that in the next podcast. This podcast. Should I talk about this podcast? Oh, no, it's this one. No, it's not. It's the next one. It's the next one. Never mind. I'll talk about it in the next podcast. Yeah, but I might start doing the frontier pointing this week. I'm not sure. Oops, I probably should. I'll let you know how that goes on. It might be one this weekend. It might not be. We don't know. We'll find out. Okay. That is it for those then. We can go on to the hints. So last week's hint was about bringing something back. Bringing something back was the Loom bands, because apparently they are coming back. We talked about that in the actual Couple Adventure video. But this week in this episode, there are many different letters. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 letters that I will sporadically place throughout the episode. So if you can find them, put them all together and rearrange them to get the hint for this week's video. Yeah, but that's that. Okay then, I think that's it for all. It is indeed. Alright, TV time then. Not really much to talk about TV time. I haven't really watched much TV because I've been so busy trying to get caught up with this stuff and doing essays and stuff like that. But all the Arrow stuff is back, like Arrow, Flash, Legend of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. So yeah, it's just so much stuff to catch up on, because it's just going to be forever now because there's so many stuff on TV, which is just crazy. I've actually been watching more films this week, to be fair, and I'm watching a film right now which I can't really say what it is, but it's because it's linked to this week's What film. But it's so good. I really want number 3 to come out of this film. It's just, first one was good, but the second one had like so much lore of the Gold World and stuff, and it's just like, yes, so much better. Maybe that's a bit of extra hint for what film this is this week. Okay, community section now. Let's move on swiftly. So let's start with Mention Monday then. So these are the people that commented on the last video since the last podcast. Usually a week, but it's not a week because we're behind. But yeah, let's get on now, shall we? We have 5 names. We have Horia, Max Ravage, Puppy Von Vathorst, Overlord Master, and Nick Pro. So thank you very much for commenting last week's videos. Obviously it was only a few because I'm catching up with this podcast, which is good and bad at the same thing. I mean, it means we're catching up fast, but it means there's not many out at the time of me recording this, so few people have obviously missed out. But yeah, like I said, when we get back to normal, it'll be back to normal. But yeah, thank you very much. Let's go on to the Q&A then. So we have 2 questions this week. One from Overlord Master said, you should play Overlord and make different choices. In terms of like new Let's Players, this is about, not really a question, but I wanted to cover it in the question anyway. This would be quite a good reason to do it, to do the evil side of the Overlord games. The only bad side about it is I will be doing another Let's Play of Overlord, which would sort of associate my name solely with Overlord, which is not really what I want to happen. Also, it will take up a lot of time, and we've already seen most of the story elements from the first game we did. It would just be the different choices. So that way is not a good idea in that way. But I do want to do the different choices. But what I was going to do is eventually I'll go back into the game and just do like a shortened version, like and just highlight some of the key different choices in terms of evil that happen in the game and the different things that you see. And I'll put them into like a series of like 3 or 4 videos probably, and it'll be like subscriber special type things. That was the whole idea. That's what I was going to do about that, and the same with every other game as well, really. And then moving on to the next question, we have Horia, who has a new segment for us this week called Name That Movie. Anyway, he gives the synopsis of a movie, and we have to try and guess which one it is. So the first one is a billionaire devotes his entire life and fortune to cosplay. Sorry, I had to move the list. And beating up the mentally ill. Right. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I've seen this one, and if I have, I don't remember it. But I've got 2 things in my head. The first thing I had was Kick-Ass, because I don't think it is, because he wasn't a billionaire, but he doesn't really beat up mentally ill. But what I think it is, after just reading that, I know a little bit about the film Sucker Punch, and I know that she goes into a asylum and she has to beat like the guy who might have been a billionaire maybe. So I'm going to say Sucker Punch because I think that might fit in with that. But yeah, let me know. We'll say what it is next week. Okay, but subscribers now then. So we have no new subscribers this week, unfortunately, but we do have 1 new subscriber in terms of numbers, but names we don't have. So we went up from 1,213 to 1,214. So that's a plus of 1. But yeah, like I said, don't have the name because they've probably got their subscriptions hidden. Okay then, so questions. So last week's question was about what book I should have got from that list. No one said which one, although I think I have decided to go for The Witcher and the Game of Thrones one, because Game of Thrones is longer than The White Queen. Plus, I read the first one, The Lady of the Rivers, which is the first one of The White Queen, last, as in after the last Game of Thrones book I read. So it's like the next, with like back and forth sort of thing. And The Witcher one, I want to try and forget, because I watched this, like I said, I watched that lecture of the Silmarillion, and the reason why I've chosen The Witcher over the Silmarillion is because if I leave it a while, I might forget some of the bits that I heard in that lecture video. So that way, when I read it, it'll be a bit more fresh and a bit more new. That was my theory behind it anyway, so that's what I'm going for. This week's question is, what do you think about the new Pirates of the Caribbean footage? The, what film was it? Dead Men Tell No Tales? What do you think about it? I actually really enjoy it. Like, I've always been a big fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean series. I mean, I know the 4th one did sort of bring the series down in terms of its reputation, but I did still enjoy the 4th one. I didn't hate it. I still liked it. There was a few things I didn't like about it, but I still liked the film in general. And the new one I think looks really good. Like, I think it's going more back to the first film where it's more gritty. It's still got that, obviously, that level of a Hollywood spectacle with the ghost pirates and stuff like that. But I do like the idea of it. It looks really good, so I'm hoping it'll be interesting and actually work and pull it off this time. But hopefully we'll find out. Okay, this week's comment actually goes to Max Ravage, who says in an Assassin's Creed video called The Great Hunt, he says, "In great hunts, you need great wolves. Territory conquered, wolf." Yeah, that's part of the whole empire thing that's going on between Horio and pretty much Max Ravage. It's pretty much just those two at the moment. But the main thing about this was the fact that he was saying about the great wolf, the wolves in The Great Hunt in Assassin's Creed 3. And my question to you is, if you know about the DLC for Assassin's Creed 3, then you know about a specific thing that happens with wolves. And I'm just looking at it and I'm just like, hey, I see what you did there. Hey. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for those episodes to happen now. And then obviously I think Max Ravage will jump on that because of the nature of what it is. Okay then, so now that's it for that. Then let's go out of the community section into goals. So last week's goal was to do my plan thing, which was, I told you last week. Sort of worked. Like I said, it was probably going to go because of the internet problems on Monday. It was probably going to be a little bit extended, which it was. So I've actually had to change a few things around. So my new goal was Thursday to edit Assassin's Creed 3, the last one you saw last week, apart from pointing. I did that. That was good. Friday, which is today, it is. Sort of haven't done most of it. It was to film a couple of revenge video, which I did do. I did that in the morning before I went to college, actually, so it actually worked out pretty well. I was sort of on the ball from the beginning of the day. And then when I come back, I was going to record the next couple of... the Loom Band video, which I haven't done yet, which I'll move that to for tomorrow, because I've actually got tomorrow off now, so I couldn't do that tomorrow on Sunday and Saturday. Also was going to record Assassin's Creed 3 pointing, which I'm going to do now, even though it's 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's the way I work. Doing the podcast, which I'm doing now, and then I was going to edit the next Assassin's Creed 3 video and Passion video, which is not going to happen. I'll do that tomorrow, but like I said, I've got more time tomorrow now then. So yeah, so now I've got Saturday and Sunday to do all of next week's videos that you're about to see. A couple of event video, 2 of those, and that's it. So hopefully should work out alright, especially if I got all day tomorrow to work on it now. So I think my plan's working. Might not be the next podcast on Monday, it might be a day late or something, which I have said before, but I think that might happen. So I think the plan has worked, but that's obviously this week's goal, just to continue with this plan to try and get everything back on track, because I'm sick and tired of being behind. I need to get back on track because I want to start a new video series by the time I start going to uni next year, and I want really to start a new video series at Christmas time, like at Christmas holidays, when I'm hopefully going to try and do this new series, which I'm hoping is going to happen. But yeah, I'm just sick and tired of being stuck behind all this stuff, so hopefully we'll get back on track soon. But that's that. Okay then, so let's go on to the outro. I will finish my cup of tea wherever it is. It's a bit cold. It's been sitting there for about 4 hours. Oh well, cold cup of tea. But that's that then. So last week's film, what was the thing? It was... Oh yeah, it was the blue pill, red pill, which obviously 2 people got, which was, of course, The Matrix. It's pretty obvious. It's very famous. The next one is obviously what I've been watching and wanted to talk about, but I can't talk about it. But yeah, hopefully you know what it is, and I really want a number 3 of this series. We'll talk about it in a second, but yeah. But that's it for this one, so obviously I'll say until the next time we meet, farewell. And I'll leave you with the best what film I've done in a while. I'll leave you with what film? Red means stop! Really want a number 3.